Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new video, and today we're here for some more F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. And today we have the Austrian Grand Prix, which was normally a great track for me on F1 2020, but it is quite a difficult one here on F1 2021. It will rain in qualifying, so we have to be prepared for that. We have made a few more upgrades as well, so let's hope we can qualify a little bit better. Let's move on to qualifying. It is raining here in the Red Bull Ring as we're here on my first lap in qualifying, and I need to make sure it's quite good as the rain will get worse, as Jeff said earlier. So here we are around the final corner, coming towards the line, and we are P2, a good 2/10 away from Kimi Raikkonen. But now as we move on to the end of the session, somehow we are just about at the cutoff point in P16, and we are going to stay there as no one else is moving out onto the track. So that is me getting into Q2 pretty convincingly. Meanwhile, my teammate Robert Schwartzman was not so fortunate. He was only in P20 in the end. So now we move on to Q2, and there are 2 minutes left of the session. The rain is drying up, and I haven't set a lap yet since I was waiting to use the intermediate tyres, and I'm actually going purple in the middle sector as you saw on the map there. Everyone else did their lap times on the wet tyres, so this has allowed me to maybe get my first ever fastest lap in a qualifying session. Coming across the line, well, P3. That is a little bit embarrassing considering I'm on the inters, but we're going to give it another go. We had enough fuel, and we're going to go P1 for the first time in our career, but, well, it should not last. Let's see the grid for the Austrian Grand Prix.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Norris, Sergio Perez and Ricciardo, Leclerc, Tsunoda, Vettel and Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Sainz, they've taken a grid penalty, Kimi Raikkonen, the owner driver, Giovinazzi, Mick Schumacher, Nicholas Latifi and Robert Schwartzman. Russell, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Stroll, Mazepin and Pierre Gasly picks up the final grid slot today. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
So we move on to the formation lap, and as you saw, I am P14 thanks to a couple of grid penalties. We actually did qualify P16. My lap wasn't too great compared to everyone else's, but we're now lining up on the grid with another great chance to score some points here today. We are now revving up to 5 red lights here for the Austrian Grand Prix. The 5 lights are here and they're out, and we're underway here for the Austrian Grand Prix, and I've had a great start compared to Kimi Raikkonen. I'm trying to pull up alongside him. Meanwhile, Mick Schumacher's going down my inside. We're 3 wide into turn 1. Schumacher will send it, and he spun around. I have to avoid him. What an avoiding action there from me. Schumacher's been spun round and is holding up everybody. Mick Schumacher has ruined it, and look at Mazepin. That is so clever there from the GOAT Nikita Mazepin. Meanwhile, I'm down the inside of Raikkonen. I give him a good squeeze and I go through up into P13. What a crazy start we had. There is no safety car, and Raikkonen is coming back at me here on the outside line. I tried to give him a squeeze there onto the curb, but the Iceman's looking to hold it all the way around the outside. It just isn't very easy to do so, and he has to go wide, and Giovinazzi is up into P14, and he'll go down my inside to get into P13. I'm going to try and hold it around the outside of the Italian, and I've just about retained P13, but I'm already a second off Ocon, and I've gone onto the grass, so Giovinazzi will get another good chance. I'll squeeze him all the way to the right-hand side of the track. Now into turn 9. Giovinazzi goes through and hit the back of him there, but thankfully no damage was done. Meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton leads ahead of Verstappen and Valtteri Bottas, and then Checo in P4, who is kind of dropping off from the top 3 there. Meanwhile, we move on to lap 2, and I'm really struggling on the medium tyres. I don't have the pace, and now Kimi Raikkonen will go to my inside line. He's going to fly down the inside line there. I do make contact with him. You saw my hand go up, but Kimi Raikkonen is still hanging on the inside line. He does manage to get ahead, but I get a good exit, and we're still going wheel to wheel. Going into the final corners, down the inside I go. I did try to stick my nose in, and we're still going side by side. Now through the final corner, somehow we leave each other enough room. Kimi had to back off there, but he'll come back on the straight. And I did forget to change my setup from the wet setup, so I'm really losing out on the straight line, but I'm able to keep it on the inside line there on Kimi Raikkonen, and I'm back up into P14, but Raikkonen will try down my inside. What a move from Kimi Raikkonen. I could do nothing to defend. I tried to switch back, but it just didn't work out. Kimi Raikkonen up into P14. Meanwhile, Tsunoda, Ocon and Alonso going 3 wide there going into turn 3. I think Tsunoda might have got damage. Meanwhile, Carlito's just overtaken Vettel, and Alonso and Ocon are both in trouble from the AlphaTauri. 3 wide into turn 4. What is going to happen? Yuki loses out hugely. Meanwhile, Ocon and Alonso going wheel to wheel. Incredible battling between the two Alpines through turn 5. Long left-hander. Alonso will try to hang it on the outside line. Ocon on the inside. Alonso on the outside. And this is incredible stuff. Incredible respect between two teammates as they're still going side by side, going into turn 9. Alonso will use the inside line to push ahead of his teammate. That's not a really good angle there for the battle, but Fernando Alonso has managed to go through. Meanwhile, we move on to lap 4, and I'm having another chance to try and get past Kimi Raikkonen. Going into turn 3, around the outside, I do go wide, but the exit was too strong there, and I've gotten ahead. Meanwhile, Ocon powering through into the top 10 ahead of his teammate Fernando Alonso. It's a massive train there, and he is up another position. Meanwhile, the battle at the front is getting very close, and Valtteri, my word, what a spin from Valtteri Bottas. He's gone round and round, and he's losing so much time. How did he manage to do that? He went so wide at the final corner, lost control of the car, and now he's going to go plummeting down the field. Checo will move up into P3. Meanwhile, I'll casually go through Valtteri Bottas. What a big mistake for a guy who is fighting for the championship. And talking of the championship, Verstappen has taken the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix. He is ahead of his rival Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton, who's already had a tough start to the season. It's getting even worse for Hamilton. Meanwhile, we move on to lap 8. I'm just here casually in P13, waiting for something to happen. Meanwhile, Gasly is going through Kimi Raikkonen there. Lovely move from Pierre, who started at the back of the grid. As we move on to lap 9, and we just got to realise that I am completely finished. I'm a sitting duck on the straight. I am the next target for Pierre Gasly, as he will definitely fly through on the straight. Here he goes then, onto the inside line. I won't fight him too much, as Yuki Tsunoda actually has a bit of damage to that AlphaTauri. So I'm thinking that Pierre Gasly can take me to him. As we move on to lap 10, Gasly is already caught up to his teammate and will go down the inside, and I will just try and slot in behind them to make a move on Yuki later on. Pierre moves up into P12, and I'm thinking with that pace, he can maybe get some points here today. As we move on to the end of lap 10, I'm looking to get prepared for a move on Yuki Tsunoda. Pierre pulls into the pit lane, and Yuki going very slowly through the final corner, so I'll use the drag reduction, but because of my setup, Yuki was actually quicker than me there on the straight. Meanwhile, we did both have DRS, but still, that is a bit concerning. But here we go now on the back straight, going through at around 200 kilometers per hour, flying ahead of the AlphaTauri. Hopefully Yuki won't fight too much. He will try on the inside line, but he will just have not enough front grip to fight me there, and I'm up into P10. And we now skip over to lap 13, and Carlito is going to go flying through. After a few pit stops, I was up into P8, but now I'm down to P9. We're not really going to have the pace of these guys. I'm trying the 1-stop here, while they're going to do a 2-stop, but they're so much quicker. Meanwhile, the GOAT, Nikita Mazepin, and that is some pretty bad luck there for Mazepin. Hopefully, there'll be a safety car so I can pit in conveniently. No safety car. Absolutely nothing there to help me out. And I've got a fast Valtteri Bottas catching up to me here. That is a little bit worrying. but I'm a bit surprised we didn't get a safety car. Meanwhile, Leclerc will go flying through now up into P8 again as he pitted in. So that means I'm pretty much in a world of my own here. I'm not really going to be fighting these people. So here goes Sergio Perez down the inside. I can't really fight him. There's not really much I can do to really defend or push because, well, my tyres are too old and my car isn't that quick. Meanwhile, let's have a look at some battling. Here goes Vettel on Fernando Alonso around the outside. This man is still yet to get a point for Aston Martin. He could get some today, and that is a beautiful move there on Alonso as we move on to lap 21. And literally nothing is happening. It's like Canada all over again for me here. I'm just kind of in a world of my own, and it's quite disappointing. Meanwhile, Yuki Tsunoda's got an engine failure. His engine is gone. Maybe we'll see a safety car. Meanwhile, the two in front of him are fighting. But if we get a safety car here, that would be so very convenient to my Grand Prix. I get the notification, and still nothing there. Wow, I'm quite shocked. I'm on increased safety cars as well. As we move on to lap 23, yeah, my pit stop did not seem to get recorded. Like I literally pressed record and it did not seem to show up on my Xbox app. So that's a bit odd. It was a 1.9 second pit stop, but it really doesn't matter because I'm not really fighting for much here today. I wasn't really fighting anyone, and all of a sudden we have a virtual safety car, and I can confirm this is because Charles Leclerc had a bit of damage to his front wing, leaving debris scattered all over the track. As we move on to lap 24, Pierre Gasly, because of the virtual safety car, is able to get out the pit lane ahead of me, which is very inconvenient. But now we're here, ready for the restart. Schwartzman's all over the back of me here. So, once again, after finally getting some sort of safety car, we are underway again here in Austria, and I looked to try and get past Pierre Gasly, but I didn't realise that I had the DRS available, so I wasn't able to get through, and I think that means that's the end of me trying to get ahead of the AlphaTauri. He is much quicker than me, and I expect him to fly away as we move on to lap 28, and as I said, he is absolutely flown away. Fernando Alonso is fighting with Robert Schwartzman there. Meanwhile, Pierre will be trying to get the final point from Kimi Raikkonen. Actually, he already has got that final point. GG to Pierre Gasly for getting into the top 10. What a drive from him. Meanwhile, for the first time in this career mode, we are being waved with blue flags from the race leader, Max Verstappen, who will be on his way to victory. Fernando has been lapped, Schwartzman's been lapped, and for the first time in my career, I'm going to be lapped here by the Red Bull car, which is kind of shocking at how quick the top guys are. I let him through with no problem, and I'm still ahead of Alonso. Hopefully, I can get some DRS from Max Verstappen. But we now move on, and we're on the final lap. But yeah, because I've been lapped, I will not be able to complete every single lap of the Grand Prix. My race will literally finish right here. So why don't we move on to our race winner here today, who literally lapped us a lap ago. Verstappen round the final corner. He won in France, and now he will take a second victory in a row in Austria. What a victory from Verstappen. Meanwhile, I'm coming through to finish in P13.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
Fantastic victory for Red Bull today. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Winners, the team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work and they should be proud of the victory they secured here.
Well everyone, that will end today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.
Now let's take a look at the driver's standings. Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
I'll probably go for Pierre Gasly. The team did a good job with the strategy to put him in amongst the pack. but it's the driver's job to capitalise on those opportunities, and he did so with a lot of skill.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Red Bull pull further ahead in the standings. Meanwhile, Ferrari have improved their position. A strong weekend from them as they fight their way towards the top. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.
Shine, we're golden. They can never break us down.